What's going on, 5-9 Gaming Crew? Lethal One up here, joined by, we got a bunch of people here. We got Goresh, Iron Kane, Little Bobby, and the Platinum Chin. Basically, we just got done watching the Nintendo Direct, and we're going to go ahead and kind of just talk about, I guess you could say probably the bigger surprise that we got from this Direct. It's Skyward Sword, the HD collection. Or not collection, but just the HD game that's coming out. I guess let's kind of jump around. Has anybody, I guess Goresh, I know you've played it. Has anybody else played the Skyward Sword, the original one that came out for Wii?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've also played it.
Okay.
Nope.
I was gonna say, because I think Platinum, we haven't played this yet, so this is exciting for us because we've been dying to play this game, and I don't know what Platinum's reason is, but for me, I didn't either want to play it on the Wii or I just didn't have a liking to it because of the controls and whatnot. But I know that's a little bit of a little topic because some people didn't want to play either because of the controls, or they just didn't have it, or just didn't have it. The Wii
I didn't have a console to play it on or the game at all anymore.
Right. Okay. So that's what I've heard. But Goresh, you've played it, so I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of start with you. We can kind of go around a little bit here and just give our input on it. But what did you think about this when you saw the Skyward Sword, the HDs getting released?
Well, okay, because we knew it was one of the last ones that still needed a remake. It's not super old. I mean, the game came out, like 2011 or so?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
around 2011, yeah.
So the game really is only 10 years old, which is not that old compared to some of the games that have come out. I mean, Wind Waker got a remake, an HD remake. Twilight Princess got an HD remake. So, the next game after that was Skyward Sword. So here we are. I think it's a little bit unexpected just because I think the reception to this game specifically isn't as good as a lot of the other 3D Zelda games. I think most people, if you were to rank them, consider this probably like the worst one. But I think that's mainly just due to the fact that the motion controls were forced upon you in the original game. And that's one of the things that we should emphasize here is that they did specifically mention that they're not going to force that anymore. Right. So you can choose to either use motion controls or not. And I feel like the fact that most people's complaints for this game was the motion controls that like sort of turn them off from the game. The fact that it's optional to not use them anymore means that this is going to be a lot more attractive to people to try out now. So I like that a lot. And me personally, I actually like the motion controls. I know I'm a little bit weird, but I think they did a good job in sort of like giving you the swordsman feel of like, okay, yeah, slash this way or move your hand this way. And so I thought it was okay. So I didn't really have a problem with that, but I know a lot of people did. So that's something that they looked at and they accurately, pinpointed the issue, and they're trying it out, and I'm excited. I really am.
I feel like that's what made the Zelda games on the Wii fun, because that was like the whole excitement of Twilight Princess was, oh wow, motion control. It was the whole excitement of the Wii itself was, well, I get to use my hands and arms and move around and actually play the game like that. And I feel like that's what made Twilight Princess so fun. I'm just surprised that was something people didn't like in Skyward Sword as much, because I never got to play it, but that's what I liked in Twilight Princess. I loved being able to use the motion controls.
Well, the main problem with Skyward Sword originally was kind of like it was ahead of its time in what it wanted to do, and they couldn't get, even with the Motion Plus, the Wii controls to work properly for the game 100% of the time. So let's hope that they fix that issue, because it was something like 8 or 10% of the time your commands wouldn't go through properly when you're playing on the Wii. And that was a big detractor from that motion experience, because like playing it and getting it when it works is like such a cool feeling. But at the same time, if you're playing a game and like 10% of the time your input commands don't work, that's a big like ouch to that game. And I think they reached for the sky and couldn't quite get there back then. But hopefully now with the improved tech of the Switch, they can do that, because we've all seen how good the Joy-Cons are at their their motion.
And I think that makes sense, because like you get stuck using motion controls, whereas like Twilight Princess you could stick in a GameCube controller because they had it on GameCube as well. The controls were already in the game. So
And that's a good point you bring up too, because like people are going to be playing this game in different ways, and what I mean by that is like some people might be sitting down and playing it. Some people, depending on their room space too, like that's another issue you have when you have these motion controls. Is like most of the time they're like, hey, make sure you have ample space around you. So again, looking to see how they're going to go ahead and like make sure the controls, like you don't really need like space and whatnot. I mean, back in the Wii, I know the idea was always to have like a lot of space around you and whatnot. So hopefully, like we're talking about the issue of like making sure that like your inputs are going through and whatnot. Hopefully, it's going to be a better experience on this one. But just to kind of jump a little bit on the because we talked about the actual controls too. What's cool is I don't think we mentioned it, but the idea of what they're doing for the actual physical controls is they're going to allow it. I think it was what they showed. What was it? The right stick that you can use it to kind of mimic the same thing as like a swipe up, or like if you're going like an upward motion on the right stick. Same thing with like if it going down, left and right. I think they mentioned like the L and the R's and whatnot, but I think the main thing, right, is being able to mimic those sword slashes. So just for anybody who wasn't exactly sure how that's working, that's kind of what the solution is, kind of, is using that right stick to go ahead and mimic those same slashes. So, for someone like myself, that's exciting. I'm super excited to be able to just mimic those controls from the right stick and, kind of have my experience that way. But I think it's a good point to kind of say that, like, I think I do lose out on that experience because if I'm not mistaken, and again, everybody kind of said it here already, but that was the idea of this game, right, was to really kind of feel like you were splashing with the Wii control or with the actual like motion control. So again, I think it's going to be good for us that don't want to have to go through that, but I mean it's the good thing is that it's still there for those of you that want to do that, but I think you get the most experience from being able to mimic that. And they didn't mention it in HD, so I don't know if it mentioned if it had higher res graphics or not, but if it does or whatever, that's also just going to be a big plus too.
Question I have for you guys who've played it, like Iron King, what, like, and for all you guys, but like what is it about this game that you're excited to go back into?
Yeah, like the one fight that comes to mind is like the Girahim fight at the end of the game, like the second to last boss. Like he has like all those things in like a row. He shoots at you, and you have to slash your sword in the right way to like deflect them all.
Let me close my ears real quick. Go ahead, Garish. Go ahead. Because I don't know the game.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Well, my point that I was quickly going to just toss in was like, man, I'm excited because I've never played the games, right? So I don't know the story really. I've heard that I think it's something about like the Master Sword, I think. So that's what's kind of exciting. Again, if it's not about that, but regardless, it's the story for me personally that I don't know about. So I'm excited to meet like the new, the new allies, new characters, any new enemies, big bosses. But go ahead, Garish. You can continue.
Yeah, sorry, viewers. This isn't spoiler free.
Sorry, it's a your own game. But pretty much what I'm excited for the most is the ability to like explore the world a lot. Because when I played this game the first time, I wasn't somebody who was like, okay, I need to 100% everything. I need to get every single item and stuff like that. I just sort of played through the game, normally without really going out of my way to explore different areas. But during the, when I play the remake, I'm gonna like try and 100% everything. It's gonna take a while because the whole mechanic of you flying on the I forgot what the name of the birds are, but those the loftwings, I think that's what they're called. Those loftwing birds.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, that's like the way you get around like the whole world in this game. And I didn't really explore that as much when I first played through this game 10 years ago. But for the remake, I'm definitely gonna explore like the islands that are like in the sky and stuff like that I just never went to. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, exploring is like kind of think Wind Waker, but in the sky. It's very similar. It's just like these little islands floating around. You can just explore willy nilly.
I bet you that's exactly what they took it from. They were just like, okay, how can we make this sort of like Wind Waker, but in the sky?
In the sky, just make it opposite. Yeah. Bobby, what about you? What was that like? What are you excited to go back to when you pick up this game?
Well, like one of the things that this game has that a lot of the 3D Zelda games do really great is like biomes, right? So there's the forest level, there's like the desert level, right? There's all these different areas for you to explore. And with the art style of the game, a lot of people at the time thought it was really like, oh, it's too cartoony, but it actually, looking at it today, it's helped it hold up a little better, in my opinion, than like Twilight Princess. Like even the Twilight Princess HD, looked pretty good, but the art style trying to be so realistic, I don't know, it just doesn't hold up as well.
Well, especially limited by graphics at the time.
Right.
I think it's a nice blend of Wind Waker and like Twilight. It's like cartoony, but also a little realism there.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like the color palette probably threw people off too. It's just slightly different.
It was their way of experimenting with the style that they just haven't done before, because up until that point, they've done Ocarina, Majora's Mask, which was pretty much the same style.
Yep.
Then they did Wind Waker, which was like completely different. It was like the opposite of Wind Waker, or the opposite of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Then they did Twilight Princess, which again was like the opposite of Wind Waker, and then they sort of found like a middle ground with Skyward Sword. So they have like a art style, and this is like what I think is like so great about the franchise, is that they have an art style for everyone. Maybe you're somebody who likes the cartoony aspects of Wind Waker, or maybe you're somebody who likes the realistic aspects of Twilight Princess. I know a lot of people like one or the other, but this is like a middle ground between those two things. So if you're a fan of one but not of the other, it's not like this is going to be completely against what you like. So I think there's good aspects to the art style too, but it's up to personal opinion there.
Well, I'm excited to play it personally. Like, I know the one thing that you were saying when we were watching the direct was like, at least this game has dungeons.
Yeah.
So like, that's gonna be fun to get a real feel of like Zelda again. Not that Breath of the Wild isn't a real feel of Zelda. I love Breath of the Wild. I think it's a great game. One of the best games that's ever been made. It's just I was hoping for Wind Waker, but I take what I get. So I'm okay with this, and I'm ready to pick it up and give it a try.
This is a good one. This is the one that a lot of people like really wanted to kind of get to play, but a lot of people kept saying for the longest time, you don't know if it's ever going to get like ported over or whatnot. So I think this was a good one, a good surprise, because again, it's been how long since we've played the first one that came out. So this is good to get the HD remake for it. So I'm glad to see it for that aspect too. Let me see, but I guess besides that, we did get anything extra to add on to the Skyward Sword HD from anybody?
Haven't played it, so not for me.
I would say if you we kind of touched on this earlier, but if you are interested in getting this and playing it because you never played it before, absolutely try the motion control experience first, right? Because that's kind of the way the game was made and intended to be played, and it really is immersive. And if they get it working 100%, I think that's going to be like the way to play the game.
It really feels like almost like Dark Souls with motion controls. Like the combat is really that intuitive. Like the way you have to move your sword like in a different way that the opponent like has their weapon. Like if you hit it at their weapon, you'll clang. But you want to hit their body, so you have to like move your arm that way that you hit their body without hitting their sword. It's really cool once you get into it.
Yeah, it's far.
Just keep in mind as well that this game was designed to be played with motion controls. The reason why they forced you to use motion controls in the original release was because that's how they intended people to be playing the game. That doesn't mean it's going to be bad without motion controls. That's the way they intended it to be played. So I imagine when you compare, motion controls to non-motion controls, I imagine motion controls is going to be more fun. Yeah. But we know how people feel about motion controls. So at the end of the day, it's up to personal judgment.
I've never heard anyone say anything good about motion controls except for Wii Sports. So something about that was magical. But.
Hey, I mean, they got the tennis down perfectly. What can I say?
They did.
All right, so I guess again that's the like in a nutshell for the Skyward Sword. We did get one other piece of some Zelda content here from the Nintendo Direct. We got announced an expansion pass for Hyrule Warriors. Now, does somebody have the dates up for the expansion pass?
Yeah, I do. I have it.
Do you have it? Okay,
yeah.
Do you want to explain?
So you can actually purchase. It says purchase bonus available May 28th. And then there's like 2 waves to the entire thing. There's wave number 1, which is available in June, which is going to give you an expanded roster, newly added weapon types, new challenges in the Royal Ancient Lab, and then newly added challenging enemies. Obviously, people are going to be most excited for the roster. I guess we can speculate, or people can speculate on who's going to come to the game then. But then there's Wave 2, which is coming in November, so it's 5 months after. I don't know why it's taking them so long to do that, but it is what it is. I guess it's sort of like a season pass sort of thing. But in Wave 2, there's a new character vignette, whatever that means. Newly added stages, expanded roster again, and then new battle skills for existing characters. That's probably the most interesting thing to me, because the whole game to me is about doing combos and like finding different ways to fight. So if you can have like new ways and interesting ways to perform combos and like different ways or styles of fighting, that's going to add a lot more depth to the game. So
that's definitely going to bring people back, I think, or people who've played maybe just want to get back into it for some of those new things, like, especially like just being able to do different combos or whatnot. I can see that bringing people back, and it's cool to see that they're really stretching out the content, really stretching it out all up until November, which is really cool.
I feel like the main reason they are stretching it out is because so many people were expecting Breath of the Wild 2 info today, and unfortunately they said we don't have anything till later in the year, which will probably be around November. So they're trying to keep the Zelda content alive this year, and we still have the 35th anniversary this year that we may see more of those like 3-packs or 2-packs.
Yeah, because that date hasn't even come up technically. That's in what, 4 days?
Yeah,
is the actual 35th anniversary?
We might like, this is only just a piece, I think. But there's potential way more information we'll get, for Zelda's content in regards to maybe Breath of the Wild 2 or whatever else that we might get.
Yeah,
maybe they'll just port over the HD remasters of the other 3D games.
I'd be so fine with that. That's what they've done with Mario. I'd be so fine with that. That's so simple and easy. It'd make me happy.
Yeah, take the Grezzo remakes of Ocarina of Majora, put that on one thing. Take the Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, put that on another. Boom, you got your whole year. I'm good with Zelda for a while on that. I can wait for Breath of the Wild 2 with all of that Zelda to play on my
Bring me
Switch.
some Phantom Hourglass remake for the Switch, you know? Maybe I'm just grasping at straws here. I love that game so much. No one can take that away from me.
They might do that with, right, because it's Phantom Hourglass, Wind
Spirit
Waker,
Tracks?
and Spirit Tracks, right?
Yes.
They might do that as a 3-set, right?
Yeah.
They're so good.
Throw Minish Cap in there too. I might as well.
Just toss it in there.
Well, Oracle of
Link's
Seasons and
crossbow training,
Ages
guys.
remake.
Go through the rest of like all the GBA ones. Okay.
Give us a whole
Might as well throw
GBA.
Wand of Gamelon in there too.
Yeah, Wand of Gamelon remake.
Ruby's
35th
bombs.
anniversary.
Oh man. All right. I guess if I missed anything, guys, did I miss anything in terms of Zelda content that we got from this Nintendo Direct? I think
I
that
don't
was
think so.
Joy-Cons.
that's
pretty much it.
Joy-Cons.
Oh yeah, they got a special edition Joy-Con July 16th.
Right.
Check that
yeah.
out.
And Pro
Yeah,
controllers.
July
Scalpers,
16th.
stay away. I need it.
I know.
They haven't announced any
I-
pre-order stuff yet, so I think we're good for now. Maybe it'll just be a same-day type of purchasing, so we'll all have a chance. Who knows?
gonna
Actually,
have
you
to
know
find
what's
a
funny
bot,
about that
you
too?
know?
Just one quick thing on that, the Joy-Con thing. Because when they came out with Skyward Sword initially for the Wii, they had a special Wii mote
Oh, there
for
you
it
go.
that I
That
actually
makes
sense.
bought.
Yeah.
So maybe it might be like a throwback to that. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like it though because there's no Pro controller for it, so you got to get because it's made for the motion. So I'm like,
Right,
I need
yeah.
it. I need it.
Yeah, the design is sick.
If there's any extra pair of
it was
Joy-Cons I
basically
need, because I
the-
only have one, it's that
No,
set.
they did have
It's
they did
basically
have
a
a Pro
Master Sword,
controller,
right?
didn't they?
What's up?
Yeah.
Didn't they say they had a Pro controller as well?
Wasn't that for? Wait,
I thought it was just Joy-Cons.
No, I thought there was a Pro controller as well.
there was something,
maybe I'm-
right? Wasn't there a
there
whole
might have-
like Switch and stuff and? Well, I can't remember now.
There might have
losing it
been,
now,
but the
man.
big one that we obviously all are thinking about right off the top of the head are the actual Joy-Cons. 'Cause
Joy-Cons.
They look
Yeah,
beautiful.
the
They look
Joy-Cons
beautiful.
look
That blue color,
gorgeous.
because again, it was to mimic I'm believing it was the Master Sword, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Master
okay,
Sword
just to
and the
make sure,
shield.
yeah.
And the shield,
There you
yeah. That's the Hylian colors. It's the blue, the
Pretty
red,
much.
and the gold.
But yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
that's about
So
it.
I'm gonna go ahead. I guess I'll wrap it up here, unless you guys have anything extra to add on. I think that was the last piece that we didn't have in here. Yep.
That's
all right.
it for me, I think.
Okay. Well, I guess we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Let us know down below. Are you excited for the Skyward Sword HD? Let us know also for the expansion for Age of Calamity. Let us know about that as well. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and end it here. We probably have another video coming out as well for the Nintendo Direct, so be on the lookout for that. And all right, I'm Lethal One Up. We were joined by Garesh, Iron Kane, Little Bobby, and the Platinum Chin. And we appreciate you guys. We will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.